The Eagles' season is going to be different.
Different. The best 5 players are back. McNabb, Westbrook, Kearse, Akers, Dawkins. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but what if Donovan McNabb gets injured again?
Nice. Keep the microphone a little bit lower, guys.
Donovan won't get injured again. Well, he probably will, but that's just Donovan. Oh, my God.
You got Donovan, you got the Eagles, you got injuries. Quick.
Speaking of injuries, if Ryan Howard didn't get injured, he'd be in the home run race with A-Rod right now.
Nice switch.
Oh my God, I can't think.
You got home run race, you got Ryan, you got Phillies.
The Phillies will. Phillies will do well.
Okay, you've got nothing. You can start a new subject.
If you really think the Phillies will do well, what about Pat Gillick getting a guy who's 40 years old and has a 12.36 ERA? I mean, really?
Phillies, Pat Gillick,
ERA, low ERAs, pitchers.
He ought to find a way to get his ERA as low as Jake Peavy's.
Speaking of ERAs, the Yankees don't have the best ERA in the league.
Yeah, but the Yankees do have some good hitting. A-Rod has 27 bombs, and Giambi might do good. You never know.
The Yankees are starting to do a little better, and I really think the Yankees and the Phillies will have good rests of the season and both win their divisions.
Well, I think that the Yankees are actually not going to be able to keep up with the Red Sox and that the Red Sox are going to win their division.
He is absolutely right. The Red Sox are going to win the division, but the wild card, the Yankees aren't going to win it. The Tigers are going to win it.
Speaking of division winners, what about the Phillies? Their divisions, everyone else in their division is sinking, and they're starting to rise up as the leaders.
The Phillies will win their division if everybody else rises up in their bullpen. Jeff Geary, Ryan Madsen, they all have to do so much better if the Phillies actually want to win. Speaking of doing better, the Olympics has to do better of broadcasting more curling.
What's up with Barry Bonds? I mean, he's on steroids, he does all that stuff, he's a cheater, and yet they're still going to vote him into the Hall of Fame. Come on, what's up with that?
The worst pitching staff in the league right now is the Cardinals' starting rotation.
Talk about worst in the league. Let's go back to the Phillies for a minute.
You want to talk about seriously upsetting and sad? Just take a look at, Michael Vick. Maybe the only reason he can run is because he's so high. Like, he can just pick up supernatural strength.
Stinking. The Baltimore Orioles. They lost 8 consecutive games. They got swept by the Nationals. The Nationals. The
Orioles suck. I mean, man, they just try to hit the ball and they always strike out and they just, suck. Yankees are going to win and then, Orioles suck because Orioles suck and our, owners, retarded and stuff. Yeah, they suck.
If you want to talk about stinking, you should talk about the Phillies. I'm from Philly, but the Phillies stink, and so do the Flyers.
I have to agree. The Flyers do stink.
The Flyers, they're not good at all.
Flyers are going to be good next year because let me tell you, they made a big trade today. They traded for Tip Timonen and some other guy who's 20-goal scorer.
Speaking of being good next year, the Eagles are going to rock. McNabb's going to come back, and Brian Westbrook is just going to run all over the place. And Jeremy Bloom's coming back, and he's going to run all the way up the field with the ball.
If you want to talk about bad sports, talk about the Phillies bullpen. They can't hold 10 runs.
Being this is a topic we started with, I'll go back to Bonds. I know everyone says he's a cheater and everything, and that is true. But remember, Gaylord Perry back in the 1940s or whenever he was pitching put Vaseline on his arm for his entire career, and everyone just laughed at it and easily voted him into the Hall of Fame. So as much as everyone can say he cheated, everyone else does too. So you know what? He's wrong. I don't like him, but he's going to get in the Hall of Fame, and he deserves it, and he'd get my vote.
Everybody does cheat a lot in baseball, but Bonds he started out not cheating when he first started, and then he just started cheating more and more, and it just gave him more fame. People just shouldn't be allowed in the Hall of Fame if they cheat that much.
You know what? The Phillies stink, all right? Cole Hamels gives up 5 runs in two innings. He's supposed to get win number 10, and, of course, he blows it. Then the Phillies bullpen, my gosh, Jeff Geary, he's terrible.
Speaking of the Phillies, when are the Phillies ever going to get good pitchers? I mean, look at Freddie Garcia. He just stinks.
I think the Eagles are not going to do this good this year because they don't have a good receiving core. They have a nice running back, but they don't have anybody else but the quarterback.
I mean, yeah, the Phillies and Cole Hamels are bad, but you know what? The Eagles are coming back, and I don't care if they have a receiver, what everyone says. They're going to get one, and they're going to win.